Hello guys, it's Mr. Wisp here 254. Thanks for coming back and joining us in this channel. So basically what I want us to look at today, I want us to look at the basic MikroTik configurations. So basically these are the configurations that will get you started so that you can have things running, not something which is complicated, just a very simple and easy setup. So for all your MikroTik routers, you will always need, and it's way easier to use Winbox. So you will always need Winbox, which is a user interface, which will help you navigate through so that you can be able to set up and configure your MikroTik router. So to get Winbox, basically all you need to do is come to this link right here, mikrotik.com/downloads. Then there's this Winbox here. So basically you'll just choose what suits your operating system. They have a 32-bit and a 64-bit. So mine is a 64-bit, and this is what I've chosen. I've already downloaded it. So when you do that, this is what you're going to have. Let me just minimize this now, because now this is what we are going to work with. So this is your Winbox, and once you download it, when you come and click on neighbors, it gives you, it checks and it gives you some of the MikroTik routers that are connected currently. So right now we have this, which is the current MikroTik which is connected. So once basically when a router is new or it has been reset, it has no configuration. So the way to log into it, your login is going to be admin, and your password is just going to be blank like that. So let us get into this. You come and click connect. So basically once you log into a MikroTik router which is in its default status, it comes with some of its configurations. So you can either choose to use those configurations, or you can choose to remove them so that you can configure your own configurations as you want it. So for today we are going to remove this. So you click remove configuration. So we'll just maximize this, and once you've removed the configuration, the router should be able to reboot. So maybe let's start a new Winbox session. From here we are going to close that. Yeah, it's already closed by itself. Let's close this as well. So once you've removed all the configuration, you're going to notice that now your IP is now 0.0.0.0. The logins are still the same, no password. You now click on connect. So for starters, what I basically like to do, because you are really going to be using this router a lot and you need to know its performance and how long it's been up, and such kinds of small details which will help you know the status of your router. So you come to this bar right here, right click on it, and then you say add time. So it's going to give you time right there. Right click again and you say add date. It's going to show you the date. Right click the space again and say add CPU. So this is going to show you the CPU usage. This is very, very important, because at times you find people use the traffic that's passing through the router is so high that the CPU usage gets to 90. So when it gets to that figure, your client experience is really going to be compromised, and that's the point where you'll now start getting a lot of calls from your clients complaining of low speeds and stuff like that. So when for me personally, when it gets to around 70-80%, now definitely that's time to upgrade. Even though you can wait for it to get to 90, it's definitely going to be your choice. Then you'd also want to know the memory usage, and then you'd also want to know the uptime. So basically the uptime, this is going to let you know for how long the router has been up. So for this instance, this router has been up for 15 minutes and let's say 16 minutes or so. So that is one of the settings that I usually do. Then another thing I would like to do is I would want to now maybe secure my router a little bit. So I'll need to have a username and a password to log in. So for that you basically come to system, then you come and say password. So definitely there's no old password, we are going to leave it blank, and our new password, just for demonstration purposes, let's say 12345. Of course 12345 is not a good password, that's a very weak password. I would not recommend that you use that. I'm just using it for demonstration purposes. 12345, then click on change. So the next time I would want to log into this router, it's going to ask me for a password. So that is how you go about changing your password. Then I would also want to change my identity, or maybe just give the router a name. So you come to systems, and you can see here where it's written identity. So the current identity is MikroTik. Let's get rid of that. Maybe we can use Mr. Wisp 254. We are going to use that as our identity. Apply. Okay. So you can be able to see up here that the identity is now changed to Mr. Wisp 254. That is another thing that you can always do for your router. So now we want to get this router started. We want to get it connected to the internet so that it can be able to access the internet, and we also want it to be able to serve our clients. So there are two ways of doing this. You can either come to the quick set. You can be able to do it from the quick set area. We'll talk about that maybe later. For now, let's come to basically what I want us to do is create a DHCP client. So how a DHCP client works is such that your internet provider has given you internet access, and this internet provider is giving you internet access, is assigning you an IP which will give you internet access, and this IP is going to be a dynamic IP. So for you to set up a DHCP client, all you need to do is come to IP, click DHCP client, and just for proper demonstration purposes, let's just make sure that the router doesn't have any internet. So it's asking for logins, it's admin, you click on enter, then you remember our password was 12345, enter. Note that when you input the password from the terminal, it won't show. So we are in, so let's ping 888, and you can see the router is not connected to any internet. We have no internet at all. If you come to the IP address, we also know we have no IP address here. So I will leave this running here so that we can see if any changes, if any change happens. I will also leave the address list here so that if any change occurs, we can be able to see. So basically what we now want to do, we want to make this router have internet. So we said you come to IP and click on DHCP client. So we click on add. Currently, as I'm doing this, I already have my cable, which is from my ISP, plugged on to port 1 of the router, because that's where the internet is going to come through. So okay, it's logged me out. Let me just log back in. No, it now needs a password. 1 2 3 4 5. Connect. Yep, yeah. So basically we now want to do the DHCP client. All you need to do is click add. The interface we are going to use is Ether1, and you do also want to leave these checked as they are. Then just click apply. Okay, so you can see already we've been assigned an IP here. So let's come back to our ping here, and you can now see we are able to the router is now connected to the internet. So once we've configured DHCP client, definitely we've now been assigned a gateway, we've been assigned a DNS, and seems that all that is now working well. So the router is now connected to the internet, and we now want to say distribute this internet to clients if we have clients, or we want this router to be able to feed other routers if we have others at home in different rooms. So basically, as this router is, let's now close this. We are also going to close this. So basically what you now need to do, you come to interface, and you're going to realize that you have 5 ports, 1 2 Ether1 through to 5, and now we want to use Ether2, 3, 4 and 5 to be able to give out internet to our clients or something like that. So what I generally do, or I would recommend that you do, is that because as it is, these pods are very much independent, so what we need to do is create a bridge and put all these pods inside that bridge. So the next thing we'll do is come to bridge, say add bridge. We are going to call this, maybe this is going to be our last mile for our clients. That's the name. And apply. Okay, so we've now created a bridge. The next thing, we now need to identify the ports that we want to be on that bridge. So what you do is you come to ports, then click add, then we choose from the interface, we choose Ether2, the bridge is last mile, apply. We'd also want to do the same to Ether3, so we'd copy this, change the interface to Ether3. We'll also apply that, copy again, change the interface to Ether4, apply that, make another copy. Oops, it's thrown us out again. Let's reconnect. Yeah, so we do the same to Ether5, apply. Okay, I see Ether4 has been left out. Let's add it. Ether4, apply. Okay, and basically what you need to know is that when you create a bridge, that bridge now works as a switch. So the next thing that I would want us to do, because now this bridge is now going to give people internet, and as it is, it also needs to be configured on its own. So the next thing that we will do is we first of all now need to create IP pool that clients will be able to pull from. From that IP, we will also need to NAT that IP so that it can be able to give the clients, the end clients internet. So what we'll do, we'll come to IP pool, then we add a new pool, then maybe we are going to say this is our last mile pool, and the addresses are going to be say 172 dot let's say 10, let's say 20.2 all through to 172.10.20.254. we click apply and OK. So this is the range that the clients are going to be given. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to NAT this IP so that it can be masqueraded and it can be able to appear behind the public IP which our ISP is using, has given us for it to provide internet to us. So what you need to do, you need to come to IP, firewall, then click on NAT, then add. The action here is going to be masquerade. Then come to general, this is source NAT, and our IP, the IP that we want to NAT is 172.10.20.0/24, the entire subnet for that. So you click on apply and OK. So now that we've added a NAT for that IP, for that range of IP, so those IPs, when they're given out to clients will be able to reach the internet. So what we now need to do is we need to set up a DHCP server. So how the DHCP server will work is that anybody who plugs their router to port 2, 3, 4, and 5, this person will be issued an IP, this person will be issued a gateway, this person will be issued a DNS, and this person will now be able to access the internet. So first of all, what we need to do is we need to create a gateway for the bridge that we created. We need to give it an IP, and that IP is going to be the gateway actually. So we need to come to IP, addresses, click add, and maybe we can say, maybe we can use 10.20.30.1/24, and this is going to be, the interface is going to be the last mile, which is our bridge. Apply. Okay, so that is going to act as the gateway for the clients who will be connected to our last mile bridge. So we'll close that. So now we want to set up the DHCP server. So you come to IP, then click on DHCP server. So there are two ways of creating your DHCP server. You can either do it manually by coming to networks and then click add, there are those options, or we can use the wizard that is provided here. So all you need to do is come to DHCP, then click on DHCP setup. So the DHCP server interface is our last mile bridge. Click next. The DHCP address space, that seems okay. the DHCP, the gateway for DHCP. Yeah, that's the correct gateway. And then the address to be given out. No, actually let's change something here. The DHCP address space, because you remember there's a pool that we created, so let's use that pool. One 172.10.20, was it 20 or 30? Let me just confirm. Pool, yeah, 10.20.20 .0/24. Then we're going to say next. This is definitely the DHCP network gateway. Click on next. Okay, just okay, let's start again. Last mile, that's our interface, that's our DHCP space, DHCP network, the addresses to be given out. There's something that we might need to change later on. Next, this is going to be the DNS server. Everything looks okay. Next, list time is going to be that. And now our DHCP has been set up successfully. So if you come to the network here, you're able now to see your addresses. This is the address that's going to be used. So let's nut this address as well. We'll come to IP pool. We are going to add another pool. Maybe we can say this is a DHCP pool. And we can just copy this, control copy, and we can paste it there, the entire range, then apply, then okay. Let's close this. Let's nut that IP as well. IP firewall. We can take this, copy. We need to change this. Apply. Okay. So after that, this router is now able to dish out DHCP IPs, and once they are given out, you'll be able to see them from the list tab here. So this is an IP that has been given to me because I'm already connected to the router, and I would want us to come to CMD so that we can do an IP config and see our IP. Just a minute as it tries to load that. Just a minute, sorry for the delay. Yeah, the command prompt is what we want. Yeah, there it is. Open. It's taking a bit of time, so what we'll do, we are going to do an IP config so that we can see our IPs. So as you can see, This is the IP that we've now been given from the MikroTik that we've just created. So you can see it's from the range that we created, and we can also ping here 8.8.8, and you can now see that we have internet. So basically this is internet that has now been given and assigned to my laptop from the MikroTik router that we've just created, that we've just configured, sorry. And another thing that you'll realize with your MikroTik routers is that when you have an IP pool, what MikroTik routers usually do, they start assigning IPs from the very end IP coming down. So the next person will be assigned 10.20.30.253, and that's how MikroTik does it. You see, we have a default gateway. You remember we created a gateway for the last mile bridge, and yeah, so that's how you can be able to get your MikroTik router started. And these are just simple configurations to get you going. So the next video we will talk about how to configure static IPs. We are also going to go through VLANs and all that, and just make sure to hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when any new video comes out. Be sure to subscribe, leave a like, share this video, and I'm happy that you're here. Thank you, and see you in the next video.